Welcome back to ZBCN Today, the channel where we cut through the noise and focus on what actually matters. Over the past week, the Zebec ecosystem has continued to demonstrate a recurring pattern in how developments surface ahead of formal announcements. This behavior has been observed previously, including instances where partnerships or integrations briefly appeared on public-facing materials or websites days before being officially disclosed. While such signals do not constitute confirmation and should not be interpreted as finalized outcomes, they reflect Zebec's historical tendency to allow information to surface organically before formal communication cycles conclude. In practice, this approach creates intermittent visibility into potential developments, though it remains important to treat these observations as preliminary rather than definitive. Beyond protocol-level activity, Zebec's broader ecosystem expansion is increasingly being driven by community-led initiatives. Independent creators and contributors have launched dedicated media channels focused specifically on Zebec's tokenomics, protocol updates, and broader financial infrastructure discussions. These efforts are notable because they represent sustained organic engagement rather than episodic promotional activity. Engagement metrics across posts, podcasts, and video platforms have consistently shown elevated interaction rates relative to many comparable projects. This pattern suggests that Zebec's community is not only active, but structurally invested in the long-term narrative surrounding the protocol's development and adoption trajectory. This community density plays a meaningful role in shaping asset momentum over time. Historically, projects with durable ecosystems of contributors, educators, and content producers tend to scale faster once broader market participation expands. While meme coins often rely heavily on community-driven virality, infrastructure projects also benefit from strong grassroots participation, particularly during periods of market expansion. When broader crypto market activity accelerates, projects with pre-existing social distribution networks tend to experience faster dissemination of product updates, integrations, and narrative positioning. Zebec's current engagement profile suggests it is building that infrastructure ahead of broader adoption cycles. Everything you hear on ZBCN Today is for educational and informational purposes only. Nothing in this video should be considered financial advice, investment advice, or a recommendation to buy or sell any asset. Importantly, the compounding effect of collective participation far exceeds the impact of individual contribution. A single creator or community member cannot materially influence market perception in isolation. However, when hundreds or thousands of participants engage simultaneously through podcasts, social platforms, forums, and commentary, the combined effect becomes structurally significant. This collective amplification improves discoverability, reinforces credibility through repeated exposure, and accelerates awareness among audiences that might otherwise remain disconnected from the ecosystem. Over time, these dynamics can meaningfully alter how quickly protocol-level developments translate into broader recognition and adoption. Within this broader ecosystem context, speculative discussion has emerged around a potential partnership between Zebec Network and Block Inc. in 2026. This scenario remains hypothetical and unconfirmed, and should be treated strictly as speculative analysis rather than predictive assessment. That said, the strategic alignment between the two platforms has drawn attention due to overlapping objectives in real-time payments infrastructure and programmable financial services. Block Inc., through Cash App, operates a mass-market consumer payments platform with over 55 million users. Zebec's core product architecture, real-time streaming payments, continuous payroll, programmable subscriptions, and automated treasury distribution overlap structurally with several of the financial use cases Cash App has historically sought to address through incremental product expansion. Zebec's infrastructure is designed to enable payments that occur continuously rather than in discrete batches, a framework that contrasts with legacy payroll rails and traditional settlement cycles. In a hypothetical integration scenario, Zebec's streaming payment contracts could be embedded into Cash App's payments infrastructure, enabling wages to be streamed in real time rather than distributed through biweekly or monthly batch payroll systems. This would allow workers to receive income continuously as labor is performed, rather than waiting for predetermined pay cycles. Additionally, cross-chain payment functionality could enable value transfer across multiple networks, with automatic conversion into USD upon receipt within Cash App, eliminating manual reconciliation and friction typically associated with crypto to fiat conversion. Potential use cases in such a framework could include instant payroll disbursement, streamable salaries inside consumer wallets, automated treasury and DAO payouts, subscription-based payment streams, and low-friction cross-border remittances. These use cases align directly with Zebec's core product thesis: programmable money flows that operate continuously rather than episodically, reducing settlement delays, administrative overhead, and dependency on batch processing infrastructure. From Block's perspective, such capabilities could materially enhance its competitive positioning within the fintech landscape. Always-on payroll and wage streaming would differentiate Cash App from traditional banking rails and legacy payroll processors, strengthening its fintech moat. Programmable payments could unlock new monetization pathways by enabling subscription-based services, automated expense routing, and now embedded compliance frameworks and real-time treasury optimization for small and medium-sized businesses. Additionally, creators, freelancers, and global workers could benefit from improved liquidity management by receiving funds continuously rather than at fixed intervals, improving cash flow stability. From Zebec's perspective, the strategic upside would be substantial. Access to over 55 million Cash App users would provide immediate mass-market distribution, dramatically accelerating exposure to real-world payment flows beyond crypto-native environments. Seamless fiat on-ramps and off-ramps would reduce friction for users unfamiliar with blockchain infrastructure, enabling Zebec-powered payments to function invisibly beneath consumer-facing interfaces. Integration with a publicly traded fintech platform would also enhance enterprise credibility, lowering perceived adoption risk among institutional partners and regulated financial entities. Collectively, these factors could generate significant incremental demand for Zebec's underlying payment infrastructure and protocol utility. The estimated probability of such a partnership by 2026 has been framed within a 20 to 40% range. This estimate is explicitly speculative and reflects strategic alignment rather than confirmed negotiations or disclosed roadmap integrations. The underlying rationale is that Block is actively pushing financial infrastructure toward real-time settlement, embedded finance, and programmable payment frameworks, while Zebec is building infrastructure specifically designed to support continuous money flows. If these strategic trajectories converge, the resulting integration could materially reshape how wages, subscriptions, treasury distributions, and remittances are processed at scale. This remains speculative analysis and is not financial advice. Zooming out to broader market conditions, Bitcoin is currently trading around $91,000, a level that materially alters macro sentiment across digital asset markets. Historically, Bitcoin price appreciation at this magnitude correlates with improved liquidity conditions, expanding risk appetite, and greater willingness among market participants to rotate capital into altcoins and infrastructure-focused projects. Elevated Bitcoin levels tend to function as a macro anchor, supporting broader ecosystem participation by increasing overall market capitalization, enhancing collateral availability, and improving risk tolerance across trading and investment strategies. These macro conditions provide context for evaluating Zebec Network's current market positioning. Zebec is presently ranked 133 out of 8,945 active cryptocurrencies. Its reported market capitalization stands at approximately $290 million, with daily trading volume around $7.77 million. These figures place Zebec firmly within the mid-cap segment of the digital asset market, a tier historically associated with asymmetric performance during periods of expanding liquidity, provided that execution velocity, product-market fit, and adoption momentum remain aligned. Mid-cap infrastructure projects often benefit disproportionately when capital rotation accelerates from large-cap assets, into platforms offering differentiated utility or emerging real-world integration pathways. In such environments, valuation sensitivity tends to increase as investors seek protocols positioned to capture incremental adoption flows tied to payments, financial infrastructure, and real-world transaction throughput. Zebec's focus on programmable money streams, continuous payroll, and automated treasury distribution situates it within a segment that could benefit structurally from both institutional adoption and consumer-facing payment innovation, particularly if broader fintech platforms continue migrating toward real-time settlement frameworks. At the same time, market positioning alone does not guarantee performance. Execution quality, regulatory alignment, integration velocity, and sustained ecosystem engagement remain the primary determinants of whether infrastructure platforms translate conceptual advantage into realized adoption. Zebec's community activity, product expansion cadence, and growing visibility across independent media channels suggest that its ecosystem is attempting to address these variables through parallel development across technical, distributional, and narrative layers. In summary, Zebec's ecosystem is exhibiting a combination of early-stage signaling behavior, organic community expansion, and speculative strategic alignment with large-scale fintech infrastructure players. While unconfirmed developments and partnership scenarios remain hypothetical, the structural logic underpinning them reflects broader shifts within payments infrastructure toward real-time settlement, programmable money flows, and continuous distribution frameworks. Against a macro backdrop of Bitcoin trading near $91,000 and improving liquidity conditions across digital asset markets, Zebec's positioning as a mid-cap payments infrastructure platform places it within a segment historically associated with elevated sensitivity to adoption inflection points. These dynamics collectively frame the current outlook, though all speculative scenarios remain subject to confirmation and execution risk. If you're getting value from this kind of focused, fundamentals-driven Zebec content, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to ZBCN Today, and turn on notifications so you don't miss future updates. It directly supports the channel and helps this research-driven community grow. Drop your thoughts or questions in the comments. I read them all. Now, let's continue with the real analysis.